We're interrupting your program because there have been 2 explosions today at the Boston Marathon. Police and fire officials on the scene right there. A second explosion was heard just a few seconds later.
George, we were on the corner of Newberry Street and Boylston, right where the runners turn west to head towards the finish line.
A second explosion goes off about 130 yards from the first.
My name is Adrianne Haslet. I am 41 years old and I get to travel the world and tell my story and inspire people to get over their own speed bumps or Mount Everest. I finally took a day off after getting 3rd in the world in ballroom dancing and decided to take a walk near the Boston Marathon in 2013. I decided to walk a little bit further down from the finish line, and just as I was starting to do that, I heard a loud blast behind me, and I said, the next one's gonna hit the next one, and I plugged my ears. I opened my eyes, and I had been hit by the second blast. I thought that that was it for me. Just a few days after losing my leg, Anderson Cooper came into my hospital room to interview me and asked me if I would ever dance again, and I said yes. I said I'd really love to learn, and that felt so good to say that goal out loud. And I also followed it up with, I want to one day run the Boston Marathon to thank so many people for bringing this Boston strong strength. My dad was in the back like waving his arms saying, don't say that, you never sweat in public, you would never run.
She sent me like the sweetest note, and I think I got through like 2 lines where it said, will you run with me? And will you help me, like coach me? And I said, F yeah, let me finish reading the rest of your note. Before Adrianne and I could do any of the really hard training for her marathon, we had to contact InsideTracker, get a full panel done, because I couldn't give her the training without the knowledge of what was going on within her body. And we got some incredible results, for better or worse, and we adjusted the training based on her blood tests.
We are just seconds now to the start. All of those people about to test themselves and achieve a hard-fought dream.
The para-athletes racing for Boston.
When we got into the race, I could tell Adrianne was super excited. Our pace was definitely a little bit quicker than I would have expected. However, Boston is notorious for the downhill start, so I just kind of like let that evolve and find our pace.
I was able to, what Shalane calls, fall asleep at the wheel, and I don't remember a very long period of mile markers. I remember the signs, I remember the fans, I remember the smiles, and of course every puppy along the route.
But after the halfway mark, for sure, she was petting a lot of dogs and giving a lot of high fives, because I think it was feeding her and giving her energy to get to the finish line.
Starting to hear the roar of the crowd just get bigger and bigger and bigger. He said, this is it, it's all downhill from here, and it's exactly what you want to hear at the end of a really hard marathon, and it's all brick along that street, and so it was just echoing, and it was so loud. And I just turned to Shalane and I was like, holy cow. That was so amazing. And then took the turn onto Boylston and like, here we go, we're gonna power through. Stronger than you were that day and redefine it. And I said, I'm gonna go for it. And I said to her, I don't want it to end. And I never thought I would feel that way after 26.2 miles. But honestly, in my heart, it felt like it had been so long and so short because I just wanted to keep going.
I can definitely say on Boylston was extremely emotional. There were a lot of times where I was crying, she was crying, and we were looking at each other, and there was a lot of stopping and like walking and appreciating, kind of like savoring the moment, but also wanting to show a lot of strength and composure in her running and all the hard work that she had put in.
And she said, there it is, and I said, there it is, and I stopped and I walked for like 2 steps right in front of the place where I lost my leg, and took, you know, a couple seconds, and then we picked it up and powered through all the way to the finish line. And I ran through the finish, and she was like, Adrianne, and I stopped and turned around and gave her this great big hug. And I didn't really want to stop running or know that I should stop running. Like, it didn't feel like the finish. It's the most amazing feeling. And then she looked up and pointed upward, and she said, your name is in lights. Right now, you just finished the Boston Marathon. I'm so proud of you. And I was like, I'm really proud of us. And I gave her a hug and a kiss, and I just am so proud of the work that we put in and the patience we had, and I just have such a deep, deep level of respect for her, and have long before I was a runner.
I truly believe that Adrianne and I would not have made it to the start line had it not been for the fact that we recruited InsideTracker and used a full blood panel on Adrianne at a very crucial time in her training.
Thank you everyone in Boston for believing in all of us survivors. It means more than we could ever put into words.
When I run, I feel most alive. There's something very electric that happens when I put on my running leg as opposed to my regular leg, and I feel incredibly strong and powerful and like I can do anything. That's the best feeling in the world.